Hi there. So the first thing I want to show you is how to adjust a surgical microscope whenever you sit down at it. So the first thing I want to point out is the first adjustment you want to do is adjusting the width of these eyepieces so that they match the width of your own eyes here. And different microscopes are kind of different. Sometimes you literally just pull them apart and push them together. Other ones, like this one right here, have a little knob that you can turn, and it'll kind of bring them in or bring them out to kind of suit your own eyes there. And you definitely want to make this adjustment. Sometimes I work with students and they're like, I can't see, everything's out of focus, and I sit down at their scope and I look through it, and that was the adjustment that needed to be made there. As soon as you kind of open it up a little bit and kind of set it to your own eyes there, suddenly the whole world kind of opens up under the microscope for them. And so what I like to do is I like to push the two eyepieces all the way together, and then I'll be looking through it and I'll just kind of open it up until there's just kind of one big circle. And so anyway, you'll want to make sure you do that every time you sit down. The other one that I want to kind of point out here, and let's see if you can kind of see this here, is up at the top here, you can see there's a little line right here, and there's a plus and minus right here. Right now, if you have the line, and I'll kind of move it off to the side here so that, let's see if I can kind of adjust it so you can see what that'll look like. There we go. And you can see right now it's not kind of adjusted to that little line there. And let's see if I can kind of do this with one hand here. And now you can see, let's see, there we go. I have it kind of where it's kind of lined up there, more or less. There we go. Kind of lined up there in between that plus and minus. This is kind of the zeroed out kind of marking there. What this is for is if you wear glasses, you could set the eyepieces to your prescription, and so that you could take your glasses off, and when you look through, everything's kind of in focus there. Now, I kind of suggest that if you do wear glasses, go ahead and just leave them on and have these zeroed out right here, and everything should be in focus. Your glasses will be kind of playing that part right there. But this is one of those things where you want to double check that it is zeroed out, because this is one of those little things that people do tweak when they kind of sit down. And if you don't double check that this is that the two things are kind of zeroed out on each eyepiece there, it's subtle, but things will just kind of, there'll be something that just kind of feels off. It's not enough that it'll stop you from kind of doing stuff, and so you'll try to kind of do stuff, but I mean, every time you zoom or every time you do anything with the scope, you have to refocus. Something just kind of feels off about it, and you're just kind of fighting the microscope the whole time. And sometimes if you ever find yourself in that situation where you're just like, you're kind of battling the scope, double check that you adjusted your eyepieces and you have them kind of that line in between the plus and minus. Now, you'll notice there's a little button right here that you have to kind of push, and then you kind of turn it around there. If you just kind of turn the microscope, you're not actually, let's see here, you're not actually adjusting anything. Notice the plus and minus are just kind of moving along. You're just kind of rotating the eyepieces in place there. So you have to push that button, and then you can kind of rotate that line kind of in and out. And like I said, I kind of suggest you just place that, kind of zero it out, have that line kind of in between that plus and minus. And if you do wear glasses, just wear your glasses when you're looking through the scope. That should work great. The other thing is I just kind of want to point out is how to focus these microscopes. Everyone's a little bit different. Some of them are actually pretty fancy. You have like foot pedals or hand little grips and things like that where you can kind of focus in other ways. This one is it's an old microscope. It's a classic microscope. I learned on an old microscope like this. They work great. They're older than we are. They'll probably outlive us. They're because they're just kind of really long-lasting kind of microscopes here. But the way you would focus, get this one in focus is you literally just kind of lift it up and down, and as you're kind of looking through it, and you can pretty much get this just right, just by kind of lifting it up and down here. There is a fine focus in the back here if you want to just, you feel like it just needs a little bit of a tweak there. But you can pretty much get things in focus just by kind of lifting things up and down. When you do lift it, you want to lift it by kind of the body, kind of this, the arm, kind of something sturdy there. Basically, you don't want to, you can kind of lift it up and down by everything except the eyepieces. Those are going to be a little bit more delicate there. So avoid kind of, kind of yanking on those, but everything else just kind of lift it up and down as you're kind of looking through it there, and then you should be in good shape, and ready to do some microsurgery here.